Hi everyone, welcome to the Patient Wallet channel. I think the market is providing us with a generational buy opportunity today. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about why I think SaaS companies are a generational buy. Stick around to find out what technical indicators I'm examining to know when to buy next. And at the end, I'll share my quick opinion on the Netflix earnings report. SaaS companies have been obliterated for some time, as we know, and there are many SaaS companies in the market that are in massive drawdowns as I am recording this video. Let's look at some examples. Adobe's drawdown is a negative 61%, Intuit's a negative 52%, Salesforce a negative 51%, Workday a negative 59%. Constellation Software, the serial SaaS acquirer, is down 49%. And you might be thinking, well, what if these companies were too highly valued? What if their multiples were elevated in the past? Let's look at the price to earnings multiples for these companies as well. For Adobe, the trailing P stands at 15 times and the forward P at 10. For Adobe, this seems pretty low, and as we can see for the last 5 years, is way below their median levels. But one could argue that the median levels were elevated and the market dynamics are no longer the same. I tend to agree with that, but at the same time, these valuation levels seems too low for Adobe. Next up, we have Intuit. This is another company that I'm invested in. The trailing P stands at 25 times and the forward P at 16 times. Again, these levels are low for Intuit in my opinion. Salesforce forward P is at 13.7 times, Workday at 21 times, and Constellation Software at 21 forward P. All of these valuations that you can see have come down significantly, and looking at the iShares Tech Software Sector ETF, ticker symbol IGV, we can see that the whole ETF is still down 28% from its highs in 2025. So the SaaS companies are not participating in this market recovery, and there is one reason for it. As we all know, this is the AI risk. With every single new model that comes out, there are questions if these SaaS companies will survive, which continue to push their valuations lower and lower. So what do we do now? A few weeks back, I published a video around investing codes that shaped my investment journey, and one of them was from Baron Rothschild. It's a very well-known code, and the code is: buy when there is blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own. I'm invested in Adobe, Intuit, which are two companies that have been heavily impacted by the SaaS apocalypse. There is also the argument that S&P Global and FICO have also been impacted, but I think those two are slightly in a different category. So I'm going to use Adobe as an example on how I think about these SaaS companies, and even though I'm heavily in the red, how I'm thinking about these investments and what I'm doing going forward. Generally speaking, the SaaS companies that I invest in are companies with a strong balance sheet, a recurring revenue, and fundamentals going up and to the right. Let's start with Adobe's balance sheet. We can see that total cash is higher than the total debt balance for Adobe, which for me translates to lower risk. These companies have strong balance sheets, which they can leverage if needed down the line. Secondly, SaaS companies have this element of a recurring revenue. I personally like a business that I know will have recurring revenue over time, simply because their sales are repeatable again and again and again, and the product or service they offer becomes embedded, let's say, in your life or workflow. So as we can see, Adobe's subscription revenue have been growing up and to the right, and recently in the last quarter, we've seen a slight reacceleration of this revenue, which increased by 12%. Next up, a key focus of my investment portfolio and generally speaking investment journey is fundamentals. I feel much more comfortable looking at fundamentals because they allow me to remove emotions from the equation to decide if I'm supposed to be investing or not. As we can see from the chart, the diluted EPS on the trailing 12 months period for Adobe continues to rise over time, and even though there was some bumpiness between 2020 and 2024, we've seen over the last 5 quarters a reacceleration of diluted EPS. However, all of this is good, but if you invested 3 years ago, you'd be down 34%. But during the time, if you translate that into fundamentals, 3 years ago, you'd be investing when diluted EPS was just above $10 per share. And today, they are just over $17, which is a roughly 70% increase in EPS, whilst the stock went down by 34%. Well, personally, I feel comfortable because I think the market can remain irrational for long periods of times. And what management is doing is essentially buying back as much shares as possible. We can see that the diluted number of shares outstanding is going down in an accelerated fashion because the stock price is down. So that's how I think of SaaS companies. I'm looking for companies that have strong balance sheet, recurring revenue, and good fundamentals. Obviously, if I see fundamentals deteriorating because of this AI risk, and if I think this is a permanent trend, I'll be divesting from these companies. At the same time, given the historic drawdowns that these companies are undergoing, with Adobe going through a drawdown of 61%, I think these companies are starting to hit their floor. Even if multiples continue to contract, the expected returns of these companies are protected on the downside, and if things go well with a reacceleration in fundamentals or expansion in multiples, you stand to make a lot of money. What I've done here is I plotted the price to earnings multiple on the vertical axis and then growth rates for EPS for the next 5 years. And the result is essentially the 5-year returns on a per annum basis based on these two variables, the growth rates of the earnings per shares and the price to earnings multiple. So if we take the first cell, for example, to explain how I went about this calculation, I've taken today's EPS, which is $17.1, grew that EPS by 10% each year for the next 5 years, and then applied a price to earnings multiple of 10 times. I then estimated the per year return for this scenario. So if earnings per share grow by 10% and the price multiple after 5 years is 10 times, your expected return is 2%. Obviously, this is below market returns of around 10 to 11%. But regardless, I think this is the bear case scenario, which indicates that you are protected on the downside. And if you put these returns on a spectrum, I would say that it's more likely than not to beat the market returns. In other words, my base case is basically earnings per share to grow by around 15% and the multiple to stay at around 15 times. If that's the case, your expected return is 16%. And if you ask me, it's pretty good. So keep that in mind. Obviously, you need to do your own analysis. I'm not saying Adobe is the one to buy today, but what I'm saying is SaaS companies in general are in massive drawdowns today, and a lot of them have strong balance sheet, recurring revenue, and fundamentals going up and to the right. The AI risk is not yet showing in their fundamentals, so it's worth doing the research today to identify which of these companies you want to invest in. And why do I consider this a generational buy? Because this is a unique risk and drawdowns that they are going through. The AI is a unique risk which I think won't last forever because the market will figure out which companies will benefit and which ones are not going to be benefiting from this new AI. And once that clears out, the drawdowns will quickly reverse, in my opinion. So it remains to be seen what will happen, but I think the key thing to consider from here is when to buy. Why do I say that? Well, I started buying Adobe a while back now and I bought the dip quite a few times and I'm anyway down 26%. Given that I don't have unlimited capital, I wanted to understand what indicators I should be looking into to help me make my next buys. So I found a few indicators that I think are helpful to help me understand when to buy next these companies. So once you do the research and identify which companies you understand and you want to invest in, what additional indicators you can be using in order to inform your next buy. And the 3 indicators that I think are useful for me, and I'll explain to you what I'm planning to do going forward, is the McKinsey, the stochastic chart down here, and a moving average up here. So let me explain what I have in this chart. Obviously, we have the stock price on a weekly basis. You can change the duration of the candlestick to duration you fancy. I kept it to weekly in order to help me avoid the volatility of the daily candles. This blue line is the 10-day moving average of the stock price. McKinsey is down here. Essentially, McKinsey, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing this indicator correctly, is a combination of 2 moving averages, a fast one and a slow one, and how they interact or how they converge and diverge with each other based on this chart here. And then below we have the stochastic indicator. If the blue line, for example, crosses over the orange one, you should be buying, and the opposite stance. This helps me to inform my next buy and when to enter. It helps me understand the trend, the volumes, and if the stock is oversold or overbought. Once these three indicators are signaling a buy, I'm going to be buying, and then I'm going to be monitoring the situation. Unfortunately, because of my job, I can't be selling these companies when the indicators are showing there are certain conditions I need to be meeting. But in terms of my next buy and to further inform my next buy, that's the approach I am going to follow. Let's take the example here from November 2022. As we can see, the stochastics already crossed a few weeks back. So we had the blue line going above the orange line. Here we had the MACD crossing through. The best way to see the MACD is essentially these bar charts. Here, when they are green, it means that the indicator says buy. And then on the 10-day moving average, you can see that the stock price crossed over here. And what happened? It's basically the stock price closed at 341. And what would happen if you followed the MACD? You would close and sell your position at 512. So a pretty decent return. Let me be clear, I'm pretty new in technical indicators. It's just another way to inform when I should be buying next and using these technical indicators to not just go and buy the dip whenever I have a spare cash, but be a little bit more targeted. So that's the plan. I do consider SaaS companies to be generational buys today. I've explained why, but please let me know in the comments below if you agree and if you have any technical indicators that you are looking yourself in order to inform your buys. And before we finish, let me give you my opinion on the Netflix earnings report. The company reported earnings last week and the company fell over 10% after earnings. I went through the earnings and honestly, in my opinion, it was a business as usual earnings report. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but I'm going to show you the high level fundamentals and point two items which I think are very important for Netflix investors going forward. Revenue grew by 16.2% year on year. Operating income grew by 18% year on year. Operating margin improved and sat at 32.3%. And net income was $5.3 billion. But keep in mind that this number here includes the $2.8 billion break fee from the Warner Bros. Acquisition. So fundamentals are fine and business as usual, I would say, for Netflix. But there were two elements in the earnings call and reports which I think are very important. Firstly, management provided some comments around their cloud TV games. Our virtual game control app to play cloud games recently jumped to the top of the most downloaded iOS app chart. I think this is a very important data point for investors, simply because what Netflix is doing here is essentially increasing the value for subscribers by providing these cloud TV games. It's another market that they can tackle, and in my opinion, given they have the content and scalability, it's a great way to continue to attract new subscribers or keep existing subscribers engaged. Then point number two is these stats for the ad plans in the US. They are priced at $8.99, remains very popular and represents over 60% of all Q1 signups within our ads countries, management said. I think this stat is staggering. $8.99 for a monthly Netflix subscription is tremendous value. Essentially, $8.99 is 2 coffees per month. It's a fraction of a cinema ticket and a fraction of getting out and about or doing practically anything else. $8.99 is extreme value for subscribers, and what this indicates is strong pricing power from Netflix. I do see down the line a scenario where Netflix charges much more for their ads and non-ad packages. That's my opinion. That's how I see things. I know it's probably unpopular with many people, but I think Netflix provides tremendous values for what you pay today. Lastly, let me summarize why I think the market is wrong and the stock shouldn't be 10% down. When I zoom out, I see Netflix increasing their markets. So they're entering these new markets, such as the cloud TV games, which means they are increasing the value, the opportunity to charge people more and increase their total addressable markets. They have plenty of room to grow their market share. There are two facts here. Firstly, streaming accounts for 44.8% of the total TV time based on the Nielsen's study, which means streaming should increase their total TV market share, and the Netflix is only 7.5% of that market share. So there is plenty of room for Netflix to grow. And as I mentioned earlier, the pricing power of Netflix is exceptional. The value proposition they are offering today is very compelling, which will help them to grow subscribers and over time and longer term compound at high rates. So the combination of new markets, expansion of market share, and pricing power make Netflix a buy in my opinion. And as you can see from my portfolio, I went ahead and bought 16 more shares of Netflix given this opportunity the market presented to me. That's it for this episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.